Don't take anything for granted. It's not because in the month of May you just signed a contract extension that in the month of June you can't be on the transfer market. It's not because you found an agreement with a player, with the entourage about the salary, about the length of contract, that there is no West Ham waiting around the corner ready to steal the player. It's not because you have the captain band that you are sure, that you are guaranteed to start match day 1 against Como this evening. It's not because you just change the coach that you can believe that you will be again the center of the project, the star. It's not because you will play again Euro 2024 that it will bring you automatically to that level of 21, having a lot of offers from abroad, from teams that are playing the Champions League. It's not because you have that Scudetto patch on your shirt that you are sure to have the 3 points against Genoa, or that you are playing in San Siro and that it will automatically scare your opponent Torino. It's not because you have the dribbles of Solé in your team that it's enough to dribble past Cagliari to give them the 0 points and bring the 3 points in the capital of Italy. It's not because you just announced Conte as your coach that it means equal to unbeaten season. No. But football is beautiful and ugly and cruel at the same time for exactly these reasons. Because it's unpredictable. We love and we hate football because nothing is for granted. Today we start against Como. Let's have one thing in mind. It's not because our name is Juventus that things will be easy, that it will be automatic because you play in the Allianz Stadium that you will win that game. We must deserve the 3 points. Meritocracy. Only the field will speak. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, I hope you are all doing well. An intro today because we start match day 1, we have a lot of things to speak about Juventus-Como of today, but also of course about Mercato, where are we, with some newness, so put a maximum of like if you didn't yet, please continue to support the channel. I don't take anything for granted neither also here on the channel. I know that if I want to deserve your like, your views, your subscription, I need to do my best every single day and that's what I'm trying. Juventus against Como, we start immediately with the big newness of today. The shirt will not be immaculate. They will be the sponsor of Adidas. They will be the Juventus logo. We play with a home shirt, black and white, but in the middle here we'll have the Save the Children logo, so it will not be an empty shirt. We want to send a strong message, and after yesterday in that press conference giving that message of inclusion, we want to involve football is for everyone. With the sign language interpreter, today we send another message. Partnership that we already have with Save the Children since 2018. Because we don't have an official sponsor at the moment, main sponsor of the shirt, we want to use that opportunity to send a strong message. Save the Children, which is extremely beautiful. Juve, si scatena la voglia di Motta, or si scatena la voglia Motta. Today we want Juventus. We have a crazy will of Juve. We want to win again. We want again all what we think that we deserve. We want to see a new Juventus with a lot of changes from the coach, of course, and his way of playing, but also from the players that will be on the field. Today they go with a predicted lineup that we also need to discover because Thiago Motta is a coach, what we learned from the past, that until the last meeting, probably 2 hours before starting the game, he can change. But at the moment, the predicted lineup are giving us also a surprise. Di Gregorio, goalkeeper, with the number 29 in the goal. We have Cambiaso, Gatti, Bremer, Cabal, Thuram in that 4-1-4-1. Weah, Locatelli, Douglas Luiz, and Yildiz with his number 10. Dusan Vlahovic up front. What does that mean? That the newness is Danilo, captain of the team, could possibly be benched today. Something that we already saw in the last game against Atletico Madrid with that solution of Cabal on the left, Cambiaso on the right. That will be a strong message. If this happens, it will be an extremely strong message. For what reason? Because Danilo is captain and Thiago Motta, if there is one thing that is always putting up front, that is always underlining, it is merit. It is also the fact that nobody has a guaranteed spot on the field. No player. It's the week that will tell you if yes or no you will play that first game. Then of course there is still that doubt, will it be Gatti or Danilo at the center of the defense? If we are looking at the preseason, we never saw Danilo playing as a center back. But it's also true that at the moment, speaking about Mercato, which we will deep dive later in that second part of the video, there is no, or there are not a lot of solution except of Gatti and probably Cabal. But if Cabal plays, it's difficult. So Gatti could possibly start on the right side of the center back with Bremer next to him, Cabal on the left, Cambiaso on the right. A big newness, something that a lot of people were probably not expecting. Let me know what you think about Danilo being benched for match day 1. Yesterday, Thiago Motta already said, we play with 11 players, we can't play with more than 11 players on the field, and then we have a max of 5 changes, where I told you, looking a bit about his non-verbal expressions, I don't believe that he will even sub 5 players, but he also said we will be 19 players. 19 players will be called up. It's enough to play against Como. So who are the 8 other players? The 2 goalkeepers, Perin and Pinsoglio. Then we have Danilo, Fagioli, Savona on the bench together with Bangula, McKennie and Rui. Yesterday, he said it. For all the people that were still thinking, because McKennie will be reintegrated in the team, there is maybe still hope for Chiesa, because we didn't lend any offensive player, so Chiesa might have some chances. Yesterday, he was really clear, Thiago Motta, about that. No, we were really transparent. This is out of respect. This is the respect that players can expect from me. We talked again with Federico. Nothing has changed. Federico Chiesa is on the market. Yes, it's true. The rumors that were already existing are starting to be even stronger and stronger and stronger. Even yesterday at Sky Sport, there was a discussion between Di Canio and Bergomi, with a smile of Bergomi, when Di Canio told him, Zio, don't make as you don't know. There are some negotiation already. There are already some talks between Inter and Chiesa, with a big smile of Bergomi, half admitting that he knows what the situation is on. Will Inter go immediately for Chiesa this season? Will they wait until he will run out of contract after 1 year? Well, it depends a lot of Chiesa and his decision, because the decision of Juventus has been taken. We are not playing alone. It's not correct to only think about Juventus, the starting 11, or who will be on the pitch. We also need to pay attention to Como, neopromossa, right? Promoted team that will play that 4-4-2. 4-4-2 that looks really vintage football. Pay attention to Fabregas. Fabregas that is playing a kind of Guardiola-ish football. A football that we also can compare in certain aspect to the football of Thiago Motta. That midfield that is really turning, that is really changing, with 4 players that are changing position, a team that is pressing really high and that wants to recuperate that ball as soon as possible, and wants also to keep that ball possession, something that they did a lot in Serie B, in second division. Of course, now you level up, you go to that first division. Will they be able to replicate the ideas that they were having in second division? That will be the core, of course, the big question mark, but also a team that is able to not only keep the ball, but going with long balls when needed. And that's something that Juventus needs to pay attention for, because we saw it in our summer friendlies. This is one of the weaknesses of Juventus Football Club. Yildiz, Eliezer, of course, we have all curiosity for Di Gregorio. Hopefully we'll not see him a lot this evening, but Douglas Luiz, Cabal, Kefren Thuram, that we don't speak a lot about. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to see Adzic, but Yildiz with that number 10 will be one that will be observed, that one that a lot of Juventini will put their hope on. Yildiz with that number 10 is something that we all can't wait for. We are ready to welcome him, to say congratulations for your number 10. Now it's you that need also to show us that you deserve that number 10, as yesterday Thiago Motta told us. A first one as a number 10, dreaming to repeat the beautiful tongue, the tongue of Alessandro Del Piero. Will he be able to score or not in match day 1, something that he never did in Serie A, even if he entered in the last few minutes of last year against Udinese match day 1? We will discover it, but he will have a lot to do to join Alessandro Del Piero, that in match day 1 in his career in Bianconero scored 7 different times. The record holder of the Bianconeri is Roberto Bettega, with 13 goals scored on match day 1, 9 goals for Trezeguet, 7 for Boniperti and Alessandro Del Piero. Is there an active player that already scored some goals in match day 1 at Juve? Well, actually there are 2. One is Federico Chiesa, 1 goal at Juve in match day 1. The other one is Dusan Vlahovic with 3 goals, 2 penalties, 1 open game goal. Dusan Vlahovic can increase it, Federico Chiesa not today, because he will not be called up. So let's see if other players will start to enter that column of openers this season. We have a Locatelli that we are expecting a lot from. He is also dare to take a bit of revenge with himself because he wants to prove himself in that new role. We always said that Locatelli was playing in a way out of position. Some people were saying that Locatelli had not the qualities to play in the first team Juventus. Other people defended him saying he has the qualities, but he's not able to show them because he's playing a role that is not his role. Well, now with the preseason and today probably playing a bit more offensively, Locatelli needs to convince people that he can play in that role, convince himself that he can play in that role. He needs also to convince the people that whistled him in that family game that he is the one that we were all waiting for 3 seasons ago. And of course, he needs to convince as well Luciano Spalletti to call him back in that Nazionale. Weston McKennie will need also to convince us, not playing today, or maybe not even entering, but when he will go down of that stairs of Juventus, you know, when they arrive with the bus entering the stadium, going down, that his eyes are the one of Cabal. After being last minute called up again, after yesterday, Thiago Motta said Weston McKennie is useful for our project. He needs to convince us with his eyes that he's ready for being a rotational player of this Juventus, but also to convince us that he deserves. Because a lot of people are still not convinced about Weston McKennie being reintegrated. I just want to say one thing before continuing with their other things. A lot of people told me, Beppe, you're happy about McKennie being reintegrated, Beppe. You are super happy with the decision of the club. You're a simp of the club. If there is someone that can show me a fragment of video where I told you that I was happy or agreed with that decision, please find it and tag me. I would really appreciate it because from what I know, if my memory is working really well, I never really told you if I was okay or not with Weston McKennie being reintegrated, which is another part of the story. Corriere dello Sport is speaking about that match day 1 of Serie A that needs 2 games to be played, Lecce, Atalanta, Juventus-Como, but until now it is shock Conte or Conte shock, like Corriere dello Sport is opening today with a Kvaratskhelia on his knees and with Antonio Conte with a face palm. Yesterday he said, Tifosi mi scusi, supporters of Napoli, I am extremely sorry for what you saw. Mi vergogno, I am ashamed, the words of Antonio Conte. A crazy match day 1 that could possibly see Juventus already going there, on top of the ranking of Serie A this evening, being paired with the opponents that we will face in their home next week. We are speaking about Verona. 2-2 of Genoa against Inter, Parma 1, Fiorentina 1, 0-0 between Empoli and Monza, 2-2 between Milan and Torino. But yesterday's game, Bologna 1, Udinese 1, Verona 3, Napoli 0, and that was the big surprise, of course. Cagliari 0, Roma 0 with the Dybala on the bench. And let me tell you even one thing more. I hate, and I will always say it, that the transfer market, that the mercato is still open before match day 1. When you saw Dybala on the bench at a certain moment around the 70th minute when he was called up by Daniele De Rossi to enter the field, you clearly saw how much will, how much grinta, how much rush he had to enter the field. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Lazio 3, Venezia 1. That Baroni, coach of Verona last season, ex-coach of Juventus Youth, well, he can possibly do a beautiful project with that Lazio, replacing Immobile with Castellano that immediately scored yesterday. Tutto Sport is saying tutti per Thiago. All for Thiago. There is the enthusiasm of the supporters, there is the enthusiasm from the players, but there is also a mercato from Giuntoli that now really seriously need to start. We were all hoping to have some players already, new faces on the bench, or maybe even in the stands. Not 1, not 2, and also Rugani will not be there because Rugani could not even be in Torino, possibly taking the plane today to join Amsterdam to sign with Amsterdam on loan for 1 season with his entire salary spent and paid by Ajax Amsterdam. So no, Rugani will come back on him when it will be official. We are still waiting for Nico Gonzalez, for Kalulu, and Motta wants to have them already against Verona. I can tell you one thing, as we started the video, we will continue with the same motto. Nothing is for granted, because Kalulu today is the day where he needs to say yes or no. I can't promise you that he will say yes. I can't tell you that he will say no. I just know one thing, Giuntoli, he wants an answer today. And Nico Gonzalez is not about Nico Gonzalez answer yes or no, but it's more about the one of Commisso. And I'm also telling you here, don't take anything for granted that Nico Gonzalez will be a new Juve player, because if Atalanta is on him, there is also Paris Saint-Germain that is looking from the distance on Nico Gonzalez without any spending problem. So pay attention for Nico Gonzalez, for Kalulu, for Conceição, that yesterday Vias Boas, the president of Porto, said we have a great esteem of Conceição, of Kiko Conceição. We have a lot of esteem for him. We know his value. We promised him that we could take offers into consideration, but these offers need to be paired with the value of the player. Otherwise, we don't take them in consideration. Maybe a message sent to Juve that the offers sent by Juve are far from reality. Maybe not that much in terms of value, but especially the construction, the structure of that loan. So at the moment, we have nobody. Maybe the one that is the closest one is AAA Objective Cope Manners, where there is more and more hope to have him, maybe against already Verona. The only problem there is, again, the narrative. And that's the last thing that I want to say on the channel, because yesterday something crazy happened. Lookman didn't travel with the team to play against Lecce. Last minute, the player that played that Supercoppa Europea against Real Madrid, yesterday was not called up. Yesterday he didn't travel with the team, his own decision. He decided to take himself out of the team, to not answer to that called up. Totally crazy the moment of Atalanta, but it's the narrative, and I'm extremely happy that yesterday Alfredo Pedula wrote what I believe a lot of people should have written already. What I always try to explain you here on the channel, that media battle, that anti-Juve narrative, because Cope Manners is a player that never did anything wrong to Atalanta, that always was there, even after injury, immediately available for Atalanta to playing this friendly, waiting patiently without causing any problem to be freed, because that's the promise that Atalanta gave him already one summer ago. We are speaking about 2023. A Teun Koopmeiners that was an example until a certain moment where probably he went a bit wrong in calling himself sick, in giving that certificate of the doctor, where the media described him as a monster, like Gasperini spoke about, Percassi spoke about, pointing on the mistakes of a 26-year-old player, pointing on describing him as a real villain of the story, with Atalanta fans being extremely angry, hiding him from these posters of the Atalanta team celebrating that UEFA Cup of last year, that Europa League of last year, while he was just actually waiting for Atalanta to keep his promise. While on the other side you have a Lookman that yesterday, out of nowhere, decided himself to take him out last minute. And there is nobody that is speaking about it, nobody that is writing an article about it, nobody that is describing him as a legend. It's just normal, because he wants to have that opportunity to play for a bigger club, Paris Saint-Germain. It's strange, these two narratives. It's really strange, because of course, one, Juventus is involved, the other one, there is no Juventus on Lookman. Strange, the two sides of how you explain a story. One that is patiently waiting is described as the monster because there is Juventus. Juventus is bad. Look at what Juventus is doing to the kid. While Lookman, there is no problem. Disaster. A shame. But this is Italian calcio narrative. If we can speak bad about Juve, we do. If we can speak bad about the other ones, we try to hide it. Let's hide it. Anyway, ragazzi, ragazze, Juventini, Juventine, welcome back to Calcio. A season that we start today that will be, of course, full of controversy, but hopefully a lot of joy for us, Juventini. Ciao, forza, Juve.